Yo, what's going on, guys? Trey back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be talking about Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 5, the death of Renly Baratheon. So every time we see a big death of a character in Game of Thrones, I'm probably going to be doing a video like this, just kind of talking about the character, talking about whether or not it was a good decision to kill the character in the story and as well as in the show. Now, because it's just a direct translation of the book and the story, this sort of applies to the novel itself as well, not just the TV adaptation of Game of Thrones. Although I would kind of like to see the TV adaptation sort of, you know, go farther away from the book and sort of it's 100% faithful as it is now, but I kind of like to see it do some different things that maybe we didn't get to see in the book, or didn't actually happen exactly that way. The death of Renly Baratheon is basically exactly the same in the novel as it was, in the show last episode. Is it a good direction to take the story? I think it is. I think it is for a lot of reasons. Now, I don't mean to sound like a homophobe or anything like that, but I just think that most guys have trouble relating to somebody who's homosexual unless they're homosexual. Like if someone is a homosexual, they'll probably love his character. But if not, they probably won't be able to relate to him as well as, somebody like Stannis or somebody like that. Even though Renly is sort of supposed to be a more charismatic individual, because he's like that, that sort of, kind of creates a stigma around him, especially a lot of the scenes that we had to see throughout the series where we got to see, like, him and his boyfriend there and everything that's going on between them. It's just like, yuck, man, come on, and he is like a atypical good guy, but at the same time, me personally, I kind of wanted to see Stannis win because, again, it just goes back to that whole thing. I think that Stannis is kind of, even though he's not as charismatic, he's not as nice to people, I think he's kind of a cooler character in my eyes. He's just more badass. He's just like, he's not really a bad guy per se, but he's like your atypical, like, this is what I'm going to do. He's blunt about it. He tells people how it is. He doesn't mess around. He doesn't screw around at all. He's got, some things about him that are very interesting, like Melisandre, and getting to see what she can do in terms of her sorcery and all of that. So in terms of, Renly versus Stannis, I think it was probably a good decision in the story to go ahead with Stannis as being sort of the Baratheon to take over after Robert, or at least to try. And, we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, I mean, if Renly would have won the battle, it would have been kind of, he was also outnumbered Stannis. Like, I don't know how many it was exactly, probably 10-1 or something crazy like that. He had way more numbers than him, at least I think twice as many, although I don't recall them stating in the television show exactly how many Stannis had. Now he certainly has a lot because he killed Renly. And also they did it in such a way that they didn't even have to, like, nobody else died. So even though it kind of sucked to see Renly die like that, nobody else had to die in the battle at all. So in terms of, what's best for Stannis, I mean, this was like a genius type move, genius type decision for him to be able to do this and take Renly out so that he can absorb his forces and then go after the Lannisters together with all of his troops, how he can just get Renly out of the picture and do that. So I thought that was kind of all cool and get, a chance for us to get to see some sorcery and some magic. I had mentioned before that the magic or sorcery in Game of Thrones is particularly weak. People said, no, it's subtle, and I'm like, that's the same thing. Weak and subtle, in this context is the same. It's exactly the same. It doesn't have a big influence on the world. But getting to see this now, where a character like Melisandre has the ability to assassinate dudes really with nothing they can do. Like, how are you going to kill a shadow? You can't kill a shadow. What you can do, stab it? Like, it's not going to do anything. And also, I mean, the thing is able to create, like, some kind of, like, shadow sword or knife and stab him, right through the heart type thing, which was pretty cool. We got to see in the mirror. I think it was through the heart. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was through the heart. So even though, having characters die here and there, it takes away from the diversity of the show. I think it's interesting, too, because it sort of makes all the moments that Renly had up till this point more meaningful when a person goes back and rewatches it. Also, I think that it adds some interesting elements to the story going forward, getting to see that Stannis is now sort of, the biggest in terms of his size of the army, and also has the tactical knowledge. He's got the sorcerer in his side. He's got everything going for him now. So it makes the ending of the season even more exciting because we get to see it go down between, Stannis and the Lannisters. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought about the death of Renly Baratheon. in Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 5, The Ghost of Harrenhal. Let me know if you liked it or if you would have liked to see Renly win the battle versus Stannis instead, and how things would have gone. Me personally, if Renly would have won it in place of Stannis, you know, I think that would have been cool, but then he would have joined forces with Robb Stark, and I don't know how that would have gone down. That would have just been, you know, I don't know. And also, of course, Robb's probably going to have to, you know, head back up north and take care of Pike. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is just a more interesting way to go with the story. I think that that Stannis is a more interesting character than Renly. That's my opinion. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought about it. Did you like the death scene? Would you have gone the other way and had Stannis die instead? Or, you know, anything. What do you think about it? Later, guys. Peace.